The Amazon FBA apocalypse, what the gurus are hiding from you, and how to avoid losing a whole bunch of money. We're starting right now. Hi, my name is Dan Brock from Deadbeat.com, and if you want to earn online income while you snooze, consider hitting that subscribe button right now. Why does this look not level? Okay, so over the last 2 months, I've been working on my first Amazon FBA store along with a new affiliate website, and I am very excited about both, and this is me being excited. So what I've learned so far about Amazon FBA, it is not what it's been pitched to be on YouTube. I even fell for that too. I was like, we gotta get to the promised land, the land of unicorns and rainbows. I found it's not that. In fact, it is the land of death and destruction. Now, that being said, I'm still 100% optimistic about Amazon FBA. There is a lot of opportunity on there, but it is much different than it may seem. All right, so here are the 11 truths of Amazon FBA, what I've discovered, and we're gonna work backwards from truth number 11, and that is manufacturing in your own country. For me, it's the United States. It is very expensive, all right? It's almost not going to work. The only way you can make this work is if your product is very unique and you have high profit margins with that product. Otherwise, the costs are gonna eat up your profits there. By the way, to get this box made in the US, $10. This box is insane, it's beautiful. I'd sleep with this box. I'd put like 50 boxes on top of me if I had them. They're that good. These are expensive. So what I found so far is in America, let's say you have a $15 product, it's gonna cost you like 12 bucks to get it made in the United States. So it's just not going to work. So that is why a lot of people recommend China, and we're gonna be talking mostly about that here, jumping into truth number 10, and that is the Chinese are not desperate. All right, the videos make it seem like they're just like, give me money, we need money, we're starving. That's far from the truth. In fact, they are more like, bow before me, noob. The reality is they don't need you at all. Just think about it. Like, have you seen all the ads about Amazon FBA recently on Facebook, YouTube, all the videos, all these channels are blowing up. What that means is that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of noobs every day, every month are hitting Alibaba, hitting these manufacturers up. They're like, come on, give us deals, give us deals. They're just like, you know what? We're in the power position here. If you prove yourself, we'll let you give us money, and it's gonna cost you. And this is the scary thing. A lot of the times, if you look through the listings, those manufacturers that you work with will actually be your competition as well. See, so the Chinese are very shrewd negotiators, very shrewd business people. They know about Amazon. They're not dumb. So they're there, they're making their profits. They're leaving just enough meat on the bone for you there so you can just like feed off table scraps. And that leads me to truth number 9. There isn't much low-hanging fruit left on Amazon. Years ago, just like with affiliate marketing back in like 2002, plenty of low-hanging fruit. You're gonna have to work for it nowadays. So the days of finding these little like hidden micro niches that no one really knows about, those are pretty much over. And if you do find one, you're certainly gonna find some every here and there after like months of work here. It's just not worth it, because what's gonna happen is as soon as it starts taking off, the tools like Jungle Scout and Viral Launch are gonna find out those niche markets. So even if they do exist, I would say just forget about it. Focus on creating a good brand. This is a topic for another video. Now, question for you. Are you terrified? You should be. If you are, make sure you comment below. Let me know your thoughts about your experience with Amazon FBA. If you plan to do it, I haven't heard from you in a while. So because of that, I am looking forward to seeing what you have to say. And with that said, it is now time for truth number 8, and that is that a lot of the early sellers have already obtained listing equity. All right, what that means is they've been on there for a while, they have customers built up, they have reviews built up, their listing has proven itself, so Amazon is going to give it higher rankings just because of that. So you coming in as a beginner, you have to fight against that, and the biggest problem, you don't have the scale that they do. So I'm going to talk about this in just a minute, but basically they can offer their product with higher margins than you will be able to. Now, everyone's like, well, dude, you can just customize it, bro. Just customize the product. It'll be unique. Here's the problem with that. It is not as easy as it sounds, all right? The only way you can get things customized for cheap are apparel, things like cloth, any cloth piece you can. But when we're talking even simple pieces of plastic, like this little camera level, which doesn't really work, by the way. If I wanted to go to the manufacturer and be like, okay, I got this, you see you have this level, I want to have it extended this far, can you do that? They're going to be like, sure, we can do that, but it's going to cost you about $3,000 to $5,000 to modify the molds. See, even simple plastic like this, it costs money, so it ain't that easy. And what that means is there's going to be a lot of risk. Now, just imagine, right? Like you've just found your first product, you want to customize it, you're making no money from it yet. Are you really going to want to invest $3,000 to $5,000 in addition to buying about $2,000 worth of stock? Not unless you're on like crack cocaine or something. And that leads me right to point number 6, and that is starting a new business is expensive. Literally getting the LLC, getting all the tools that you need, all the registration services, it's going to cost you about $1,000 before you can even consider starting your Amazon business. And the thing about that is a lot of those fees are recurring. So you're probably going to pay a half of that every year just to keep the business in operation. Now, in addition to that $1,000, you're also going to need things like custom packaging, custom logos. All of that costs money. All right, it cost me about $800 just for one logo and one package design. Now, of course, I went for the good option. I went to 99 Designs. I got a very nice box and very nice logos, better than anything out there. Worth it to me. But if you want to stand out, you need that extra oomph to your listing. So it's going to cost you about $1,000 on top of that. So we're talking $2,000 before you've even bought your first product. And that leads me to point number 5, and that is there are so many little details you have to learn about Amazon FBA, and you can't leave these up to chance. Like with affiliate marketing, for example, you don't really have to know about SEO when you get started. You just start writing content, put it on your blog, make some videos. You can learn along the way. Amazon FBA is a lot different. Every little piece has to be known before you even consider putting money to someone in another country, literally like, I don't know, was that like 5,000 miles away, maybe more? There can be no room for error. And let me give you an example. What you see on the screen right now is what's known as a product die. Now you see this little gap between the two sides of the box. That in and of itself is a whole process going back between the manufacturer, your designer, to get the right spacing for the box type that you use. And this is the most boring, mundane topic ever, but this can make or break your product. This is one error. Let me show you. You see this little gap right here? Let's see if we can pull it. That little gap between the wall of the box and the top of the lid, that needs to be accounted for when you create your box. So if you don't do that, see how it slides in nice and easy? Just go right there, bam, it goes in, kind of. If you don't have that, what's gonna happen is it's gonna just keep banging against there, it won't go in. So imagine if you're trying to ship that, the product doesn't fit in the box. That's a problem, right? Now, that's just box dies. Box printing in and of itself is a whole nother skill you have to learn. And there are like hundreds of these weird skills that you have to learn in addition to like everything else involved. And that leads me to truth number 4. It's a pain in the butt to communicate with people in China. You can understand them fine. The issue is that it takes a whole day to get answers. So let's say today I give 2 questions. It's gonna take them a whole day to get back and answer the 2 questions. Usually it's not exactly what you wanna learn. So you have to go, I've been working deals right now for like 2 or 3 weeks with these 2 suppliers. We still aren't on the same page as far as like getting the right type of product, getting the box right. It's so much in between, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating because you think you're finally there and then it's like, another whole thing we have to work out. So that makes you, when there's that gap in between, you kind of lose motivation to keep wanting to do it because there's so long between even getting minuscule results, just getting the right answers, that you're like, man, I'm losing motivation. I want to get stuff going, but it's taking so long to get answers. So that is a major problem. It's something you don't think about until you finally do it. And this leads me to truth number 3. This is not what you're going to want to hear, but it is the reality. You're not going to turn a profit on your first run. Realistically, you're going to lose money. And here's why. You have scale issues. So the way it works is when you're starting out, you don't want to go to the manufacturer and say, I need 1,000 units, because it's going to cost you $2,500, $3,000 or more depending on the price of the product. So what you try to do is shoot for a lower MOQ, that's minimum order quantity. You want to hit around 200, maybe 300 units as you can to try to get it for about $1,000 to $1,300. The days of getting like a 200 to 300 spend on the first test, it's going to be very difficult nowadays. I haven't found them yet if they exist. So to be able to stay there, you have to pay more per unit. So instead of paying $3, between you add the box and all that, it might cost you $6 just for them to work with you, because it's extra work for them. They have to like go through all this effort. You're a beginner. They're going to know if you're a beginner. So they know that. They factor that in just to make it worth their while. So you're going to have to pay more. Instead of getting 400 units, you're going to probably get 200 for the same price. And the additional problem, you don't think about this, is that when it comes to shipping on a boat, it costs roughly the same amount of money to ship 200 units as it does to ship 1,000. And the reason why is because there's a lot of fixed costs as far as like customs, brokering, bonds, getting the tax duties, all of that is basically the same. The fixed costs are the same no matter how much you ship. So you don't get that scale until you get about 1,000, 2,000, or even 3,000 units. That's when you can really become profitable. But because you're a beginner, you have two things you're fighting against: the scale issue with the manufacturer and the scale issue when it comes to selling. Now, because of that, you will lose money because your competitors, because they have equity in their brand, their listings, they already have scale. They're going to be able to offer their product the same thing much cheaper than you can. So in order to play the game, you're going to have to take a loss the first time just to get equity as well, to be able to take that money and then buy more units. It's going to be back and forth several times over months time just to get up to the same level as your competitor. And that's a challenge. And last but not least, perhaps the most underlooked or underrated problem with Amazon FBA, and that is the hidden fees. Not so much hidden, you just don't think about it. So after you got all your product, all your shipping expense, you now have Amazon storage fees, Amazon advertising fees that get people to actually see your listing so it's not stuck on page 5,000 or page 7. And refunds. Refunds are always overlooked. So all of this is going to eat into your margin, and we're just starting out. You just don't have that much to spare. All things factored in, it's going to cost you about $4,000 to $5,000 to even take one stab, your first run at an Amazon FBA store. So my question for you is this: are you terrified? You should be. This is the stuff you should know. I wish I would have known this before jumping in, but I've been wanting to do this for so long. So now that I've learned everything, I'm already in. I'm still 100% optimistic about where the business is going to go. I am going to do things a lot different than what's taught on YouTube, the courses and all that, simply because I think that the apocalypse is coming. In the meantime, here is a video about starting affiliate marketing and crushing it in 2020. So if you're a beginner, I recommend that there. And make sure you hit that like button for no other reason than because it helps this video in the YouTube algorithm. With that said, check out my website, deadbeat.com, for more free classes on internet marketing, and comment below. I'd love to hear from you.